And good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are around the world. I am Marcus Holmes, the love activist, and I am very proud and pleased to bring yet another installment of Love and Stuff every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So why don't you click share and tag five of your closest Facebook friends or connections, five of your more popular ones to join us across platforms. Of course, we are live from the Love and Stuff page here in the Love and Stuff community, as well as the Marcus R. Holmes page, also on YouTube events and Twitch TV. So wherever you're watching and or following, thank you for joining us and thank you for being with us on this Tuesday evening. I hope again that you will click share. And while you are clicking, click the button at the top that says that you will be notified whenever Love and Stuff goes live. We would love to have you aboard wherever the journey might take us and have your input and value your perspective. We're excited tonight because we're taking a slight detour from the inbox topics because this month, as we know, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I thought that if we should do anything in raising our voice, we should raise our voice for this occasion that certainly has impacted particularly the African American diaspora, but people around the world. I was reading one statistic where in 2020, over 684,000 people lost their lives worldwide, according to the World Health Organization, due to breast cancer. And it was predicted that in this year alone that 281,000 women and men would be diagnosed in the US alone. So when you think about breast cancer and think about cancer, but especially breast cancer, you think mostly about women, but there are some men that are impacted directly by it. And of course, we're indirectly impacted because the women in our community and our lives are impacted. So if you know a woman that is a survivor, or there is a family member and that woman is an angel, she's made it to the other side, tag them because I think you will want to hear from our guest and see some of the video that we have planned, as well as some special tributes to some angels who have been in and around our Love and Stuff community and in and around the community at large, who we want to celebrate their lives and raise the awareness. If you go to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, breastcancerawareness.org, you will see they're talking about RISE, to rally supporting everyone, rally serving everyone, and rally screening everyone. And so I want to make sure that if you haven't had a conversation with a woman in your life, I want you to ask her if she has been screened, if she feels supported, if there's a way that you can serve her to help her be aware of getting early detection and getting that question or that awkward feeling in her mind. I'm not sure if what I'm feeling is a lump, or I'm not sure if I need to go. And so we'll share some video and some opportunities that you can take to help someone right in the community near you. What is love if you're not going to be in action with it, right? And so you've got to be able to touch the people that are right in the community with you, many of whom are being impacted. And while it is a sensitive subject to talk about, especially in the African American diaspora, we could do more talking about the things that touch our lives, touch our health, mental health and physical health. And so Love and Stuff in its small way wants to contribute its voice to say, let's rise up and do something about this so that one day, as my guest that you will hear in a moment says, one day this will be like the common cold. And so I hope that one day soon that there will be a cure so that all women and families, because if our women are impacted, my friends, our families, our world is impacted. And so whatever we can do in whatever way to help champion the cause, that people will be aware of breast cancer, that people will donate for research, and that we can get to some solutions and cures, we should all do that. So I hope that you will click share. I'm going to bring I'm going to say a guest, but she's my buddy. She's my friend. And she's a phenomenal Black woman, a phenomenal person. And I am just so proud of the advocacy that she's doing in this area. I'm proud because she's my friend. I would be biased, I must admit. But she is a phenomenal professional. I'm going to call her bivocational because she's a phenomenal singer. And AKA, you're going to find out some wonderful things about my first guest, our guest today, who's going to be with us a little bit, telling us about advocacy. And I hope that you will listen. And as she's speaking, that you will tag someone, because If one person decides that they can make a difference, we'd be surprised at how different our world can be. I'm bringing on with me Lori Wesby. Hello, Lori. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, Marcus. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Very important topic that you have selected for today, and I was happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you because, of course, you're my buddy. I got to say that. And so I appreciate being able to call on my buddy. But I love that you're the kind of person that if something means something to you, you're willing to get involved. I hope that y'all not seeing this feedback. So I'm going to be quiet so you can talk.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. When I am passionate about something, I kind of go all out for it. And if it means something on a personal level, I'm there for that. So just a little bit about, my advocacy journey. I really started, I said 18 years ago, but that was just with my church. That was just with Hope United Methodist Church. I really started working and supporting, I should say, the Susan G. Komen organization in the mid 90s. My company and a lot of the companies in the Metro Detroit area would sponsor so many thousands of their employees to participate in the walk, to, raise awareness, and to, it was a little bit of a competition who could have the biggest team. So they were paying people's registrations to get involved. It started out as, oh, here's something I can do with my friends. We'll go to this walk, we'll do this 5K, and then we'll go to breakfast, And so it was that until it started to really affect people that I knew personally. Mm-hmm. And so fast forward to about 2003, things had changed economically throughout the world. And so anyway, our company did it. Well, we're not going to be able to speak people anymore, but we still want you to participate. That was a no-brainer. By then I was ready to continue this fight. It was very important to me. But in that year, in 2003, one of my choir members, Ruby Tarrant, lost her battle with breast cancer. Mm. And that impacted us greatly. She was the first member of our gospel choir to pass away. And mm-hmm. at 46 years old. So wow. I had made up my mind that I'm still going to continue this fight. And now, right? So now I approached some of the church leadership about creating this team in her memory. And that's what we did. So from 2003 to present day, 2021, Hope United Methodist Church has presence at the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure every year. And over the course of that time, I have been invited to be a part of the Komen Detroit Planning Committee that actually puts this on. And at that time, it was under the leadership of Meldrum, or Mo, as we call her, and a phenomenal woman. And I love her so much. A strong survivor. And so many beautiful people through that experience. And so I've been on the planning committee for probably 10 years, I think. Mm-hmm. And that you mentioned that I sing. So I sing with my sisters in testimony. And testimony has been ministering at the race for, I don't know, 7 years, at least years, maybe more than that. At opening ceremonies and at closing ceremonies, or one or the other. So we have been a presence since 2003. And it has really been a blessing. We have fundraised, we have raised awareness. I have taken on the role of the faith community liaison. That means to try to get other faith communities, particularly in the African American community, to form teams to participate in this race. And you mentioned in your introduction that there are some disparities, some racial and ethnic disparities in terms of diagnosis, in terms of mortality rate. And this is another reason why it is so important for us as African Americans to get screened, to understand what the symptoms and the signs are, to know our bodies, to not put things off. Our mortality rate is higher than any other ethnic group, and it's really because of lack of screening, late detection, lack of education and awareness, fear, access to quality health care. And these things can be overcome just by having conversations. We talk about everything else. We need to start talking about our bodies, our health. What are the signs and the symptoms? Let's not make that conversation taboo. And let's not be afraid to have that conversation, because early can save your life. It can save your life.
Yeah. I was really, during the pandemic, very concerned because a lot of people were putting off health procedure, screenings and regular things that you would
absolutely.
Because of the pandemic. And, even those people who lost their jobs, some of them maybe didn't have the same access to health care, and so didn't go or didn't think to go. And that's critical.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because a lot of people don't know that there are resources for the uninsured and for the underinsured. Okay. So I also served on the Breast and Cervical Control Program, BCCC Advisory Committee, and that program services the underinsured and the underinsured in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties in Southeast Michigan. So if you don't have health insurance, or you don't have adequate health insurance, and you reside in one of those areas, definitely reach out to them. And I'm going to say, if you don't reside in one of those areas, still reach out to them, because they may be aware of other resources where you are in Michigan specifically, that can help you offset the cost of screening. Don't put your screenings off. I understand the pandemic. That was an unusual circumstance. I put some things off, but I did not get them done. I may have to reschedule a few things, but I got those things done. So don't put those things off. It is absolutely mission critical. So like I said, BCCCP.org is the organization that serves the uninsured and the underinsured. So if you fall into that category, if you're in one of those three counties, definitely reach out to them. But there's really no reason why we're not getting our screenings. It's absolutely too important.
And you said BCCC.org?
Yep, the Breast and Cervical Control Cancer Program.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to highlight that so that people can see that, whether they're watching now or watch later. They go there.
The right side. Yeah, Breast and Cervical Cancer Control Program. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure I said it right. I don't think that's the right website. So there's information out there. We have to start having, like I said, have to start having those conversations. We cannot just, women, especially us. And I want you to also know, you also mentioned men can get breast cancer. Yes, they absolutely can. And again, the higher mortality rate is among our Black men. So even though the incidents are very, 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 very small, we still, are leading the pack in the wrong direction. Yeah. So let's start taking real care of ourselves, getting to know what looks normal on us, so that we can identify, hey, that's not so normal, or that changed, or that's, I've seen that before, So it's that stuff that we have to get out of feeling, a little self-conscious about, and be real, and have that, honest look at our bodies and say, oh, not the way it was a month ago. Let me get to my doctor and just share with him or her what's going on with me.
Yeah. And I
So
want to ask you because you've been
insurance take advantage of it.
yeah, I wanted to ask you before I know your time is limited with us, but uh, serving as a liaison, I'm trying to
Yes.
find out how can you encourage or how can we encourage churches and other groups to have these kind of conversations with people where we create the kind of emotional and psychological safety for people where they can have conversations like that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it is really if your church has a health and welfare ministry, those are some of the things that they should be talking about. Groups of women, let's come together, or larger groups of women, let's just come together and talk about those things. Likewise, men can get in your circles and talk about those things too. Um, but I think should have some kind of health welfare ministry. It's focused on your membership.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so it's freezing you up a little bit, just a bit. I'm not sure. We're going to try to see if we can recover it. I am going to go to a brief video because Lori talked about, we're talking with Lori Wesby, who is a great friend and a great advocate for breast cancer awareness and has worked with the Susan G. Komen Cancer Race for the Cure. I probably messed a part of that up. And on other committees and liaison to build awareness. And so I'm going to go to a video because she mentioned in our Black and African American diaspora, there is a higher mortality rate. And so I want to share this video and maybe we'll get a chance to come back to Lori in just a second. So we're talking with Lori Wesby, but we're trying to raise the breast cancer awareness just with our voice if we can. Right, so we'll just share this video with you on Black women and breast cancer.
My name is Renee Cole, and I actually had heard about breast cancer, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't have any known history in my family, and I did a self-breast exam. And so when I found something that felt strange to me, I brought it to the attention of my general practitioner who did the next steps, and I'm real thankful for that. As a result of that, we had mammograms and tests, and I found out at 31 that I had the big C, had cancer. So that was the beginning of my journey.
Even though an African American woman is less likely to get breast cancer than a Caucasian woman, she's more likely to die of breast cancer than a Caucasian woman. And the investigations have really settled on two main factors that could be operative here. One is social and economic factors, and the other is biological factors. You know, we ask, is the cancer in an African American woman somehow different than it is in a Caucasian woman?
African American women are also more likely to get a form of breast cancer called triple negative breast cancer, which is very aggressive. It doesn't have any targets that we can use to specifically treat the disease, meaning that in terms of the medicines that they get, we're really limited to chemotherapy.
a young age is associated with a more aggressive type of breast cancer often.
So it's the women diagnosed younger who still have this significant difference in outcome.
Even things like stress or poverty can affect the expression of genes and how that can lead to susceptibility to get breast cancer.
African American women may not get screened at the recommended time because they don't have access to the services that they need to get that screening done. They also may find the cancer when they already have symptoms rather than finding it sort of when they don't have any symptoms just by going in for routine mammograms. In terms of the screening for breast cancer, I think that the benefits outweigh the risk when we're talking about young, otherwise healthy women that could have a long life after breast cancer if we catch it early.
Get your annual mammogram. Find out early. Check yourself. Find out early. Make sure that you know your own body. And then don't be afraid to bring it to someone's attention, because it's about being your own advocate. Go to a healthcare facility where they know, where they care. Build your A-team. I call it my A-team, where people care about you and they see you as an individual and they'll work with you. Be a part of your treatment plan. Ask the questions. Be involved and fight and win. It's only when we don't fight we can't win.
It's only when we don't that we can't win. We're talking here on Love and Stuff about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as we have our last Love and Stuff for the month. We wanted to talk about breast cancer awareness, which is all October long, breast cancer awareness. And so I hope that you will click share and tag someone to join in the discussion. As Lori Wesby, who was our guest, talked a little bit about, it's time to talk about cancer and breast cancer and better health, both men and women. Thank you for joining us, Diane Timon. Thank you, Crystal Williams, Charles Green, Jennifer Troy, and Gloria Davis. And those of you that are watching on YouTube events and Twitch TV, thank you so much for joining us for another evening of love and stuff. Why don't you take a moment to click share, tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, Twitter followers, or YouTube event connections, 5 of the more popular ones, to join in tonight's discussion about breast cancer awareness. And I just want to share some information with you about the breast cancer awareness. I think we've got Lori back, so we'll see if we can work it out. All right.
Okay.
That sounds better. So I hope that worked out good. So
I hope so. Okay.
I played a short video, Lori, from Johns Hopkins about women, Black women, especially, because you raised that. And I'm so glad that you did, because, as you said, and the doctor in the video says, the incidence of breast cancer are higher among Caucasian women, but the mortality rate is higher among Black women.
Black women, absolutely.
And, they say highly correlated with certain factors of women not getting earlier detection, but also some other factors. They talked about doing childbearing later on in life. They talked about smaller families, just the things that are highly correlated, not necessarily causation, but they find that these things are highly correlated. And so I wanted to come back and talk to you, because your love for the sisters extends to your sorority, which is AKA, and I know I got Deltas and other folks that watch. I don't mean no shade. I'm Alpha and Omega, so I'm
not in love. That's all right.
Not doing that. But so that's Black sisters, line sisters, and all of those things. How have the conversations been around women in sororities and things of that nature to help get the word out?
Well, I know that we have, and other D9 organizations have had forums specifically addressing breast cancer awareness, breast health, early detection, all the things we've been talking about. So we have definitely been leading with that during this month. And, we, of course, obviously there are ladies within our membership who are directly impacted some who are survivors. I have some very good friends, some very good sorors who are survivors, and they will tell you, it is a blessing that they were detected early. Um, it is, it has been a blessing to have this kind of support around them that they've had. It's really critical to have the right kind of healthy support around you that feeds your soul, feeds your spirit with positivity and positive thoughts and encouragement. This is a fight. Thank God I have not had those words spoken to me, "You have cancer," and I pray that I don't. Um, but I know that it's something that um, you really rely on. I've had other things go on in my life, so I know about the support of family and friends when you're going through health challenges. And that's, you can't say enough about that. People who will stand shoulder to shoulder with you as you go through this and encouraging you along the way. But yeah, so Alpha Kappa Alpha and certainly the other organizations have been in the forefront of raising awareness and having those conversations. Many, some of our membership are physicians, so we've had some expert input from the clinical side of things, from the clinicians, and so that's important to get the right information to the people. So yeah, it's a conversation that we're all having and will continue to.
Yeah. I think it is a great work. And again, I'm so proud of you that you're, so involved, and your work has to be speaking, because if they ask you to come in, hey, you did a team for the church. Okay, now I want you to come and actually work on the races committee.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volume to your commitment and your input. I wanted to double back to that video, because the woman in the video said she was first diagnosed when she was 31. I'm thinking,
Mhm.
there are a lion's share of people who think, oh, it's 40 that you should start having your mammogram. People still think that.
Right.
And what she found out is that the younger, or one of the doctors said, the younger that you are diagnosed with breast cancer, sometimes it's a indication of the more aggressive form of cancer.
Mhm.
So, talk to these
It
young women that are thinking, well, I got till I'm 40. What would you say to
Yeah.
them?
I mean, and sometimes you do. Honestly, if you don't have a family history of breast cancer, it's not something that is going to be in front of mind. However, if you do, you definitely need again, it goes back to having those conversations with your family, auntie,
Mhm,
grandma, sister, cousin. What is going on in your life that could possibly, impact my life?
mhm,
From a physical standpoint. And so
mhm,
you got to know your history. You got to have those conversations. Yes, and I don't have the statistics on it, but I do know from just talking with people who are in the research field that yeah, when it's diagnosed at a very young age, it's very oftentimes much more aggressive.
mhm,
Um, and not only do we have a higher mortality rate, I'm just speaking again to the Black women, we tend to get
mhm,
a more aggressive form of it.
mhm, mhm,
So, again, I can't stress enough about getting your mammograms.
mhm,
Um, it's just too important. So, have the conversations with your family. You may need to get screened earlier than 40.
mhm,
Um, it is not something you want to skip, have it every year. Um, like unlike some other exams that women have to have now, the guidelines have changed for some other things, but mammogram is annual.
mhm,
Um, and you usually have to have it has to be 1 year plus 1 day until you can have your next one. So,
mhm,
just make sure that you're having that conversation.
mhm. Yeah. And Teresa Smith, thank you for joining us, as well as Jennifer Troy. Click share and tag some other sister in this
So
conversation. I'm talking to
Jennifer,
one.
Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer has a personal story because her sister, who was one of my sisters, we all were, sang in the choir. And Deb
Mhm.
doesn't live here in the metro area anymore, but she's a survivor.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
her sister, yep.
I didn't know
And
that.
yeah, yeah, and she's an advocate, and she is a strong survivor. We're so blessed that she is, you know, on the other side of this thing, and
Mhm,
but continues to advocate.
mhm.
So it's, like I said, it's this the degrees of separation are so small at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And thank you for joining us, Versin. I think you are one of our overseas folks. So either it's very early where you are, but thank you for joining and click share. We're talking to Lori Wesby, and we're talking about something very important to us all: breast cancer awareness. And I know we're coming to the close of the month, but we're going to continue to talk about it and raise the awareness. I love on the breast
Hmm.
cancer awareness site, it said rise up. And so
Hmm.
it's rallying support of everyone, rallying the serving of everyone, rallying the screening of everyone. I love
Yep.
that. And I think that that is so important because it's just a conversation. If we make it, if we normalize it, people say normalize this. Well, normalize talking about
Hmm.
health and
Yes.
normalize talking about your body, not
Yes.
necessarily a sexual way, because we can talk about sex, but
All that.
normalize talking about your body in a holistic way, in a healthy
Right.
way, and what you're feeling,
Absolutely.
and having conversations. Say, well, I'm feeling this. Do you ever feel this? And if
Hmm.
we normalize that and build a whole support system around that, then maybe people won't feel so taboo about going to the doctor and
Hmm.
having the year in the
I would,
day exam.
yeah, agree 100%. And I would even encourage, and I might have this conversation with some of my girlfriends now that we're older,
Mhm,
to have those sister circles with some of our younger sisters, our 30 somethings, 20 something sisters, and catch them early and tell them, hey, this is what your body's going to go through, and these are some of the things that you might need to look out for. It doesn't happen to everybody, just like the signs of breast cancer are not the same for everybody. So I don't know if we
mhm.
talked about the symptoms and the signs.
I was gonna
um
ask you to do that, yes.
and then not the same for everybody, but
Mhm,
typically you may feel a thickening or a knot in your breast or breast tissue. And it may be, on the breast tissue, maybe under your armpit. um there may be some dimpling in the breast tissue that was not there before. That's not normal. There
mhm,
may be some discharge from the nipple, which is not normal. There
mhm,
may be a rash, an itchy red, rash around the nipple, that was not there before and is troublesome. So those are a few of the signs, but again, not everybody will experience all of them. You may experience one or two, but that's why it's important to know what is normal for you. So get a
mhm,
mirror, stand in front of it,
mhm,
and do a self exam.
mhm,
And and doing the self exam, the self breast exam, there are YouTube tutorials that will show you how to, do the digital exam on yourself that you should do every
mhm.
month, ladies, especially. So, yeah, there's information out there. If you have any of those signs or symptoms, you've noticed some changes in your breast, the way it looks, one looks different than the other. Um, don't just discard that. Take advantage, take that to your doctor and say, this is what I'm noticing, just to calm yourself down.
Mhm.
Um, because we all have a little fear of the unknown, but I'm like,
Yeah,
know what it is so you can hit it head on, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. It's that fear of the unknown, I think, that grabs
Mm-hmm.
so many people. Lena Brown,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us from the Love and Stuff community. We're talking to Lori Wesby, who comes through as often as she can to the Love and Stuff community and who happens to be one of my good buddies. And I'm, again, so proud of her for this work that she is doing. I think it is seminal work. I think it is, because one
Thank
thing that
you.
you said about having these sister circles, I'm a girl uncle dad, right? And
I
so
know.
my sister passed away when my
Yep.
niece was 9 years old. So I'm always trying to put her around women that I think are thriving and doing all the things I want her to become. But
Okay.
how important it would be to have a sister girl circle with her and her friends to say, hey, okay, you guys are in your
Mhm.
early 20s, but in your late 20s, you're going to experience this. And then in the 30s,
Mhm.
you start looking for this. I think that's
Mhm.
so key. I think that would be excellent. And let me know
Well,
if you decide to do
we
that.
might need to get something started. Let me get my girls together. We might need to get something started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be excellent.
seriously.
Love and Stuff would certainly support that. Just circles where you can come. I mean, even circles around the world, because we have some women, Lori, that are in Nigeria and Uyu. So shout
Oh
out to
wow.
them. And a lot of them are saying, hey, we don't have that traditional relationship. We don't talk about these kind of things with mothers. So we would need
Mhm.
to have somebody else that we feel comfortable,
Mhm.
kind of kicking it with about stuff. And I said,
Right.
wow,
Right.
you are, I mean, that is I'm
Well, I'm all
excited to
for
hear.
it. So let me figure out what we can do to get this thing
Yeah.
going. I'm all for it. I think that would be a great idea. And yeah, you're right. There are certain things that some mothers don't feel comfortable talking to their daughters about. And that's like, how will they learn,
Yep.
the right
Yep.
way and
Yep.
what to expect and what it
Yep.
really is if
Yeah.
mom's not telling you. And,
Right.
come on. So, um, all right. Yeah, we might be onto something.
Yeah. And then you got that, segment of moms that weren't ready to be moms, and they're moms. And so they're not knowing exactly, they're more friends with their daughters and not knowing how to take the lead on these conversations because maybe they
Yeah,
didn't have a conversation before. It's just because it
that's
seems like a
right.
lot of this early detection, some of it is an aggressive form of cancer. And I'm hoping, like you, that they will find some breakthrough research and this will be like the common cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
until that
That's my hope.
time, it hits younger women aggressively and African American women aggressively. So early detection is actually a tool, it's a
Yes, it
weapon
is.
in the
It's a
fight.
weapon.
Yeah.
It
And
is a
so
weapon.
we gotta weapon up, as it were, so that people
Yeah.
understand it's a weapon. As soon as your body feels abnormal or awkward or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta start to respond to that immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be a hypochondriac, but you have insurance, go see your doctor.
Yeah.
You don't have
And
insurance, there are resources.
those resources, which I want you to
That's right.
tell us again, the committee that you had, to tell us a little bit more about that. And then tell us again the site that people can go if they're uninsured or underinsured.
Right. So I didn't head it. I was on it. I was a member of it. And
Oh,
it's
I'm
the
sorry.
Breast and Cervical Cancer Control Program, BCCCP. So the
Okay.
website is bcccp.org.
Okay.
And that is specifically for the underinsured and the uninsured. And these programs are grant funded, right? So they have dollars to spend. And I don't
Mhm.
want this to be the best kept secret because if you need some assistance, it's there for you. If these
Mhm.
dollars are not used, then, that's where we go to Lansing and lobby for continue financial support. But if the money's not being used, they cut that support, they underfund those programs. And so that's where we run into issues. So
Mhm.
spread the word wide and far that there are resources out here. Take
Mhm.
advantage of those resources because
Mhm.
we don't want them cutting anything when it comes to our health care.
Yeah. Great points. I
Yep.
want you to talk to the women that may have gotten a diagnosis, and how do you connect with a support system if you don't have one?
Mm-hmm. So there are, I know Coleman offers a number of resources for I've been diagnosed now what? And so there are support groups. If you go on their website, there are support groups. There are other organizations as well. The American Cancer Society, you said breastcancerawareness.org. There are other organizations that certainly have those after diagnosis resources for you. Um,
Mhm.
you will likely meet other ladies who are in treatment and can again help you along your journey. And there are advocates who will certainly stand beside you um, as you go to, follow-up appointments and things like that. Um, sometimes it's just what's a friend, who's a friend that you can take with you, who will go with you, um, and just put a hand there and let you know that they're there for you. It doesn't have to be, a demonstrative, overture of things happening, but just somebody that shows you that they care. They're not going to let you go through this thing alone. And so there are definitely resources that I would encourage everybody to look up. Susan G. Komen, like I said, American Cancer Society, Gilda's house, I think it is. One of my girlfriends is on uh, the board there, or it might be one of the chief executive officer, chief operations officer. But I should have had Katrina on and got her full title. I'm sorry. But that's my other sister, Katrina. Studvin is over at Gilda's house, and so they're also talking about breast cancer awareness, but also trying to raise um, that diversity in the population that they serve as well. So there are resources. We don't want anybody to feel alone when they go through this. It's a scary thing. um, and I know that there are some people who have shared that when they were diagnosed, they pretty much went through it by themselves because they didn't want anybody to know, or they just didn't feel comfortable talking about it. They avoided it, all the conversation about it, and everybody processes things differently. So there's no judgment in that. But do know that when you decide to tell your story, there will be people there to walk with you along this path. So, I encourage people, don't feel like you're in this thing by yourselves.
I think that's so important, and thank you for that, Lori, because I could only imagine, and of course, I've had the opportunity, unfortunately, to have some angels that have made their transition as a result of breast cancer. Some of them in the employ of the city of Detroit, and some of them she roles, right? And so sometimes when you're strong, and if you're beautiful, and if you're vivacious, and feel like this is attacking that image or personhood, it does something to your psyche. And so I'm hopeful that people understand that you are still beautiful and still valued. You are still that shero. Now you're just in another battle.
Right.
Even if you're feeling like you are there alone, that there is some support group or someone that can stand alongside you. But I know for some people, they made it a very personal. They didn't share what they were going through because they thought, okay, now my self-image, or how I think
Right.
of myself, or how you think of me, or
Right.
how you see me, how my husband sees me if I've
Right. I've
got
lost my
the
hair. Now
surgery.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, going through those treatments, and it takes a toll on your physical self. And
yeah,
so, you know, you're wrestling with those things, but
yeah,
just know that that's, when people love you, they don't care
yeah,
if you got hair on your head, or drains coming out your body. They want you around. They're going to
yeah,
rally. They want you to know that they are right here with you.
yeah,
And that's going to make you feel better, and that might improve your fight.
yeah,
So don't feel like you have to do this thing by yourself. Don't feel like you have to do this by yourself. So um, I'm glad we had this conversation.
I am so glad that you were able to be with me. I know that I can just about call you anytime. And I don't mean to call you last minute all the time, but I can just about call you anytime. And if you can help, that's
Oh
what your
yeah,
heart is. And that's one of the
yeah.
beautiful things about you that I love. You're just
Oh,
a great soul. And again, I'm
thank
so
you. So
proud.
are you. So are
I'm
you.
so
This platform is amazing.
well, I'm it's only as amazing as great people like you that are willing to come on and rally. And that
Yeah.
word rally just resonated with me as I was looking
Hmm.
into different statistics, and looking at the breast cancer awareness month literature, and then that rise jumped out, and then the word
Hmm.
rally jumped
Yeah.
out, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I saw where how you got involved, and bless the memory of Sister Ruby, and how
Yeah.
you put together a team. It takes people to rally leadership and say,
Mhm.
hey, we need to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
doing that over the course of years, and then you rallied again, they said, hey, we need you to do this. We need you to step out. And all of
Right.
that is this seamless message to me of rallying. It is advocacy for others. And
Yes.
we just need more people like you, Lori Wesby, who will do that.
Oh my goodness. Come on.
People to just live their lives and think, I'm going to be a successful whatever I'm going to be. I'm going to work for Ford Motor Company, or I'm going to work for wherever I'm going to go to school and do mine.
Mhm.
But you say, you know what? I'm going to be a voice for those who may not feel yet the strength to speak up, or those that don't even know what they should be saying. Because sometimes
Yeah.
people have a voice and they don't know what they should be saying. And
Yeah.
so it makes advocacy in our world of people, the power of one, who will stand in the power of one and say, this is the difference that I can do. So we need more of those Lori Wesbys. I don't know how we
Come on.
replicate the Lori Wesbys or clone them, excuse me, but we need to have more people who will stand up and say, you know what, I can make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. And every year I've kind of watched now. I'll be honest, I haven't gone for the race, but I'm going to have to go for the race. But
You
every year
have to.
I see some post or something. I'm like, look at Lori. And I'm just
Yeah.
proud of that because, there are so many people that just won't step forward, and help.
Yeah.
And in the
Yeah.
in any way, you might think it's a small way, but it's significant to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it makes
And
a difference.
I will say this. It's great to just, you know, throw your money behind something, but your presence is a ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you stand next to somebody in a crowd of people and they're all wearing pink and they're different, year survivors, they have the survivor honor guard at Susan G. Komen, and they carry signs for I'm a 1 year survivor, I'm a less than 1 year, I'm a 5 year, 25 year, 40 year, 50 years, and one thing I do notice is sometimes those numbers are smaller than they were the year before. Sometimes those numbers are larger than the year before. And so you lost some and you gained some. And they all need you to be there for them. They all need you to be there. It's nothing like your presence that is a blessing to somebody else. Whether you're hugging them, crying with them, laughing with them, cheering them on, it matters. It really, really does. And so that's one of the reasons why I try to make it a point to be there. Also try to fundraise, but also just be there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, we salute you today, and all of the women and men like you who stand in the gap
Yeah, and our
to
brothers
be
too.
there to
Yep.
be present. Often, I think one of the former pastors says would thank people for the gift of their presence, right?
Yes.
For just being there. Your presence is a gift to
Yes.
those. It's a gift to us
Absolutely.
all, but a gift to those who most need it in a time that
Hmm.
they're both celebrating and hoping for many more years of
Yeah.
survival, some that are in their current battle and journey. So I want to thank you for being here. Thanks, James Bell, for joining us. Donald Hudson, thank you both for joining us. We're talking with Lori Wesby, who is an advocate for breast
Oh,
cancer awareness. And she is a sister who is standing in the gap for men and women who are facing this valiant battle. And it is a battle.
yeah.
And one of the key tools that we want to remind you of is early detection,
Yes.
especially in the African American
Yes.
diaspora. Early detection is a key tool for you. It's a tool, it's a weapon against this dreadful battle and disease. And so
Hmm.
Lori has committed some of her time and space and the gift of her presence to help those that are in this battle. And we appreciate her, and we're going to be connecting with her to see what we can do to help her with these sister circle chats, to get
Okay.
women thinking about, how can I monitor my own body every month, see
Hmm.
what's abnormal, and respond and react, and definitely at least annually, 1 year
Hmm.
and a day, getting
Yes.
my mammogram. So I think that is powerful, and I want to thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any closing thoughts? I'm going to go go to a video and then share things. Do you have any closing thoughts for us?
Just take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Get your screenings on time. And if you're afraid, take a friend with you. Look, I'll go. But it's important. It's important.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lori Wesby, and we appreciate you being with us. We're going to another video to show you a little bit more about breast cancer awareness. We're going to come back and talk about some things, some more things that you and I can do, and then we'll close with a few pictures of some of the angels and one of the survivors who we just want to pay tribute to today. And if you have angel survivors, I want to encourage you to drop their names in the chat. And we're going to pull those names from the chat and make one great collage of those names so that we can share it with everybody. So drop the names in the chat of any survivors or any angels that you want us to recognize, because even if they're angels on the other side, they were in life space with us. And the gift of their life was their presence at that time was a gift to us. And it left for us the memory, the treasure trove of gifts that we should still have for many years to come. And the light of that memory should call us to action and advocacy for other people that are like them. So we are live on Love and Stuff, and whether you're watching us on the Love and Stuff page or on YouTube events or Twitch TV, stick around. We're going to a video, and we're just going to share a few more tips and things that you can do to help keep breast cancer awareness going beyond October. Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I thought it was time for me as a breast cancer surgeon to give more thought to what Breast Cancer Awareness Month means. And after giving it more thought, there are three things that I think that you should know. Number one, what can you do for others, most importantly? What can you do for yourself to help yourself do better or prevent yourself from getting breast cancer? And number three, if you are motivated, what core value do you have to help others and help yourself along the way? So, helping others, it is the most blessed thing that we do. And I think that it's so important to think of others that have had breast cancer, or family members or friends, and reach out and touch them. It is the act of kindness and warmth, which is what we do as humans, as physicians, but most importantly, friends and family. That is what is important. And that someone that's had breast cancer not only has had to endure the pain of surgery and other things, but more importantly, the psychological pain and trauma of having their entire life upended and uprooted and having to reassess who they are and where they are in this world. What can you do for yourself? Well, the key thing to remember is get back to getting an annual mammogram if you're 40 or older. COVID upended all of screening. It's all coming back, and it's all open now. But it's so easy to fall off the wagon of doing something annually that's really kind of a pain anyway, and it's easy to not return. And that's my main message to you. Just make sure you go through the hassles of trying to get a mammogram order and getting back to getting an annual mammogram. It really saves lives. What we're working at the National Cancer Institute about, and I think you should know this, is that identifying whether you're at a high risk or meet the qualifications for genetic testing for the breast cancer gene, the BRCA mutation, or other cancer-causing genes. And some of the red flags that you may, or a friend may have, or a family member might have, is having breast cancer before the age of 50. Anyone with ovarian cancer meets the criteria because they're at high risk. A family that has a man that had breast cancer. And there are other cancers such as colorectal cancer and uterine cancer and pancreatic cancer that are all relevant in testing for all of these genes. That if you have that, then we can take better care of you and more intensive screening and find cancers, because you're at a super high risk for getting breast cancer, ovarian cancer, or other cancers. Beyond genetic testing, what we're trying to do as a nation is trying to identify who's at a higher risk than normal, strong family history of breast cancer, for example, and make sure that those women and a few men get the screening they need and get the care that they need. And engaging your physician, engaging information online to learn if you're at a high risk for breast cancer is super important. The last thing I think I would like to share is that find a core value within you, something that's important, whether you're good at it or not, and then contribute that to either your friends or family or people that you know that have had breast cancer. But also, if you want to contribute to breast cancer organizations, your time, your energy, your resources, find what you're good at and contribute that. I found that I felt that I was good at educating women about breast cancer in my practice, and because of that, I created the largest online breast cancer school for patients. So find what you enjoy doing and follow through with it. It's hard work, but ultimately doing for others and putting the time in to get it done is worth all of the work and makes life so fulfilling. From a breast surgeon in Northern Virginia, and a breast cancer advocate, that's what I think Breast Cancer Awareness Month means to me.
So from a breast cancer surgeon, Dr. Williams, that's what Breast Cancer Awareness Month means to them. And we're hoping that it will mean something more to you. We're talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month as we close out this month of October. This is our final episode, video cast of the month. And so we wanted to not let this month go without talking about breast cancer awareness. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's an annual campaign to raise awareness about the impact of breast cancer. So join us, Love and Stuff, as we rise up together to help uplift women in need. From the breast cancer, nationalbreastcancer.org. They say it's time to rise. And because of this past year that presented unique challenges through the pandemic, there were people who maybe didn't go for screenings. We saw setbacks in screenings and early detections. So let's rise to the challenge together. It's our moment to do it. And it is rising to rally in supporting everyone, rally in serving everyone, rally in screening everyone. And so whether you go to nationalbreastcancer.org or American Cancer Foundation or Society, or if you go to the Susan G. Komen site, wherever you decide to go to volunteer, to fundraise, to share, to raise awareness, there are women that cannot afford the mammogram services. And so there are opportunities that Lori shared with us that we highlighted earlier, so that you will be able to, those of you that may have no insurance or are underinsured, opportunities so that you don't fall through the cracks, especially for African American women who have a higher mortality rate, lower incident rate, but higher mortality rate, and is highly correlated with the lack of early detection. So we have to do something about changing the awareness. And so you can do some of these very things. You can rally in screening everyone. Talk to your wives, your girlfriends, your baby moms, your TT, your auntie, your cousin, your godmom. Talk to the women in your life and rally them to get screened. Ask them. It might be a tough conversation, but we got to normalize the conversations and make a donation to provide life-saving mammograms to women in need. So you can do that at the National Breast Cancer or any of the other organizations. Rally in serving someone. And you heard Lori, and she said it from her heart. Go with someone to their screening. They may have no one else to go with them. You might be the patient support to help them navigate specific moments like these. So join them in their journey and go with them, rally to serve them, volunteer at organizations that specialize in at-risk populations. Join virtually in helping women now, or as Lori said, sister circles. Create your own sister circle in your church, in your sorority, with your line sisters or brothers, with your civic organizations. Start sister circles in your block clubs and neighborhoods and have the conversation. Let's make this normal. You can support people by spreading the word on Facebook, on Twitter, on any of your social media channels. You can host a virtual fundraiser. You can leave a hope-filled message on the wall of support. You can share your own story or that of a loved one who's been impacted. You can wear pink ribbon, of course, during the month of October. All of these are ways that you can help us all rise to lift up women in this time. And it is so needed. It is so important that we do all of that for everybody. I want to now, before we close out, we're at 9:35. I think it's been a great show, just a few minutes over. And I appreciate it again, Lori Wesby, for joining us. I am so honored to call her friend and for the work that she does. I'm just full because I think it's important that we bring meaningful impact to the causes and the people that mean something to us. And I think if you get a chance to go back and watch, or if you watch from the beginning, you will see a certain care and custody in Lori that I think that every person who is an advocate should have. And so kudos again to her for being with us live on the show. And thank you, Michael Angelo Jordan, for joining us as well. Thank you so much. I hope you will click, share, and tag someone. But we're going to transition just to highlight a few of the angels. Some of them are former employees of the city of Detroit who fought their valiant battle with breast cancer. And I invited some of their friends who may chime in later, or I invite you now to drop in the comments the names of those angels who fought valiantly until they were carried on the wings of a new life to a new place. To drop their names so that we might memorialize their names as a part of our collage of names, if you will. And then I will also share the photo of one of the survivors, and we will have a part 2 to this so that she can come back. She was not able to be with us tonight, but her and a few more survivors to come and to talk and to share, and maybe just will be one of Lori's sister circles special edition with love and stuff. I don't know, but we'll have them back because I think it's important that we normalize the discussion so that people feel comfortable having the discussion. I think it's an important discussion. And thank you, Lori, for dropping Ruby Tarrant, if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Her name, one of the angels, and I'm going to bring up the pictures of just a few of the angels. This is Miletus Glover, a Shiro warrior for her fellow employees as a union rep and for people in general. She was a warrior who fought valiantly in the fight of breast cancer and was carried by the angels to a new resting place. We want to speak her name, Miletus Glover. Shanita Biles, a woman so full of life and joy and fun, fought a valiant battle and won on the other side. Angels carried her to her new resting place. Shanita Biles. Nellis Carr, affectionately known to many as Nell, now studies war no more, but she fought a valiant fight with several health challenges, among them breast cancer. And what a valiant winner she was and is. Nellis Carr. And here is a fighter survivor, Marsharia Harden, and she will be with us on a later show to tell you about her journey and her fight, and about many of the angels and survivors around her that helped to rally with her. She would encourage you to keep fighting and use detection as a weapon. Marsharia Harden. I wanted to share with you some of the faces, and I hope that you will drop in the comments more names and share with me more pictures of faces. We would be more than happy to include them in the collage, because we realize that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we need you to be more aware, more than just 1 month. We need you to know that we want to normalize discussions around our bodies so that we can take the best care of ourselves. You know, here in the Love and Stuff community, we're often talking about self-care along this gratefulness journey every day. And we normally, as humans, do a much better job of caring for others than we do for ourselves. We regard it as being selfish. But really, self-care is about self-love. It's about taking the time to see that your cup is filled, that you might pour it out for others. And you can't get much out of an empty cup, can you? So it behooves us all to do our best to pay attention to our bodies, pay attention to our lives, pay attention to our diets, pay attention to our lives, to the things that we are giving life to in our life, that we're speaking life to in our life, be it words that tear others down, be it actions that might be prejudice or discriminatory. Be careful with the life that we give to things, and bring back an affirmation that this love, the quintessential love that is God, created us with purpose to live lives more abundantly. And that in that abundant life, He's given us care and custody of at least one life. And as the soap opera used to say, you got one life to live. And so I challenge you to live it, being fully awakened to the opportunities for early detection, to be awakened to the opportunities to normalize discussions around our health, to be awakened to care and love yourself. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. I'm full because I know there are more of you out there like Lori Wesby who want to make a difference. And I know there are some of you out there that are in the fight of your life, and we are with you. You are not alone. You have support, you have prayers, and sometimes you might not see them or feel them, but they are there. And remember, as long as you are there, there is a chance for you to make it and be a survivor as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you will click share right now. Tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, connections, followers, or Twitch TV followers, 5 of the more popular ones, to join in this continued discussion as we took a detour from the inbox. But I hope that what will be filled is your heart box. I hope that your heartstrings are pulled so that you will make a determination today that you'll help to raise, that you'll rise up and help to raise awareness of breast cancer. I appreciate your support. I hope that you will go to the Love and Stuff community page now, that you will click the bell, and that you will go under groups and join our group inside of Love and Stuff, where you'll get to hang out with the cool and wonderful, crazy and hilarious, talented and brilliant people that are in the Love and Stuff community. It's a wonderful place to be. Go and join the group. and you will be notified of Inside of Love and Stuff events and opportunities to learn more about Love and Stuff and to fellowship with the people in Love and Stuff. It's really some cool folks here, and we'd love to have you join us. Thanks again. I appreciate you so much. Click share, and we will see you soon.